Do you struggle with meal prepping? You find that you don't have enough time to prepare all the food because the recipes are too difficult or hard to follow? Well, today I'm going to talk to you about how to simplify and break your meal planning down to the very basics. Now, a lot of people, they look at meal prepping and they look at cooking your food and trying to make it all fancy and whatnot. And the thing about what most people do is that we tend to eat the same foods day in and day out. I, for instance, first thing in the morning, I actually do intermittent fasting. So I'm not going to go into that too much, but what we do with intermittent fasting is you don't eat generally between the hours of 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. And I usually work out in and around 9 a.m. Now what this does is your body goes into a fasted state, which means that it's going to eat up all the nourishment that you've eaten from the night before. So yesterday, all my food would have been consumed within this fasted period. Now, I like to work out at 9 a.m. It just works with my schedule. Now, when I work out at 9 a.m., all my food has been pretty much digested and used within this fasted state. Now I'm doing a workout, so what it does is it actually makes my body dig deeper and it makes me have to burn more calories from stored fat. So that's just kind of a crash course on that. I've done other videos on that. I want to give that to you first. Now, when I eat, the food that I eat is generally very easy. I'll have roughly a cup of egg whites to get my protein in, and I'll have one egg to get the tasty fats in there, and then I'll usually put some type of seasoning salt. And on top of that, I'll just go to, Sobeys or Superstore or whatever it is, and they already have the vegetables pre-chopped up for you. I don't like to prep a lot, so I'll have that 1 cup of egg whites, 1 egg, and I'll grab a handful of veggies, put that on there with a little bit of coconut oil. Now, the way I do what's called macros, okay? So macros are your protein, carbs, and fats. Now, whenever you eat, you want to be able to use an app called MyFitnessPal. Now, MyFitnessPal is a free daily caloric tracker, but it'll also track your macros. Now, the way you set your macros is generally, I like my protein to be about 50%. I work out lots, I play football, I play recreational sports, so as such, my body needs a lot more protein than the average person. But I would also recommend that for you as well, because protein helps with your daily life. It helps to, it can give you energy. It also helps with hair regrowth, with your nails, with your skin, but it also helps to repair your muscles without raising your blood sugars high and without spilling over into fat. Now, carbohydrates, this varies because it depends on the type of workout I do. Now, the way I break it down is I have one of these Garmin watches. Actually, I got to stop it for my last workout. So when you read your Garmin watch and I set it here, it tells me that I worked out for about an hour and I burnt about 400 calories. So what you do is for every gram of carbohydrates, there are 4 grams, okay? 4 calories per gram. Now what I do is I take that 400 calories that I burnt and I divide it by 4. So that equals 100 of high intensity grams of carbohydrates. So carbohydrates fuel your workouts. You need carbohydrates in order for your muscles to continue to grow. So as such, I know right now I'm in a surplus of 100 calories. So that 100 calories, obviously you want to go to good sources like rice, yams, potatoes, even like whole grain breads or spelt bread or Ezekiel bread or whatever you want. But you know what? If you have a cheat day, or if you want, you want to have a snack that you can have every single day, let's say that you do want to have a, bowl of popcorn, then what you need to do is you need to start weighing your food and entering them into MyFitnessPal so that you know how many grams of protein, carbs, and fats are sitting in there so that you can match your macros. So for me, with the carbohydrates, I work out every day. I go a higher intensity, so I go anywhere from 20 all the way up to 40% sometimes. Like I can get really high in there depending on what I'm doing. Just because sometimes I'll do a workout and then at night I'll play a game of football. And yes, I've tracked my calories in there, and I burn about 700 to 800 calories in a game of football. So You know, on average, protein is about 50. Let's put this right in the middle. We got 50, we got 30, and the rest is 20. Now, the thing about fats is fats are everywhere. Just like carbs, just like proteins, fats are going to exist within your protein. So if you get, you know, if you get regular ground beef, you know, per serving, it's about 35 grams of not per serving, but, you know, when I've looked at the numbers, it shows that there's about 35 grams of fat for, you know, regular ground beef, whereas extra lean ground beef is 15. So as you can see, that fats are just going to naturally happen. And when you cook, you're going to have to cook with some types of fat. So, you know, most people, they'll cook with either just a spray of PAM so it doesn't stick to the pan, or you can use coconut oil. So right here, okay, so now I know that I got 100 grams that I can easily, that's like money that you never had. That's like somebody giving you $100 to spend on whatever you want. This isn't money, this is money that you earned, it's extra money. So you can really put this 100 grams of carbohydrates towards anything that you want. When you enter your stats into MyFitnessPal, based around your goals, so if your goal is to lose weight, then it's going to give you the option. Do you want to lose 1 pound, 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds per week? Then you set these numbers based around those goals, and then you just start entering your food in there. Now I want to go to simplified eating. Now earlier I was talking to you about the things that I eat. And generally people eat the same thing every day. Not everybody's getting fancy. Not everybody's making, you know, a meatloaf on one day, you know, nachos on the next day, and chicken cordon bleu on a Thursday. Like, nobody just has time for that. And if you do, kudos to you. But, you know, generally what you're going to do is you have your main protein sources. So you have your fish, you have your beef, you have your chicken, right? Like, I mean, those are the easiest sources. And so for me, when I'm eating, I just made a meal plan, and we'll talk a little bit about it more later, but I made a meal plan where it's so simple. Literally, all you do is you break your meals down, and depending on how many meals you want to do, so let's say you do 4, you know, you go 100 grams of lean meat, and 50 grams of veggies, right? And then you just do that pretty much 4 times a day. Now, you know, when you're eating, it doesn't have to be super complex. So I'll give you a full breakdown, and then if you want to get this meal plan, you want to have access to this, contact me, and we can set you up with a free trial and give you free access to that. But literally, first thing in the morning, you'll have that cup of egg whites, you'll have your egg, and you'll have your veggies. That'll be your breakfast. Now for lunch, you might do some ground turkey, and then you can put some pasta sauce on top of that and have some greens, you know, like a cup of broccoli. That's not hard at all. Then for snack, you can have a protein shake with an apple. And then for dinner, you would have chicken breast and greens. And literally eat that 5 days a week. You know, you can change up your chicken breast for another lean protein, such as a chicken thigh, right? There's a little bit more fat in the chicken thigh, but essentially, who cares, right? You know, you're gonna roughly meet what your numbers should match with your calories and your macros, but you know, you could swap those out. So instead of doing extra lean ground turkey, you can do extra lean ground beef. It's not that complex. And if you wanted to do, you know, your protein shake first in the morning, let's say you don't have time, you have protein shake and apple, you can do that and drive at the same time. And that's a simplified meal plan. It doesn't have to be super sexy. Now, on your if you're going to do a cheat day, then all you have to do literally is just match that to the macros that you have so that it fits, right? You generally know where you're going to go. You've probably been there before. And if not, you know what the restaurant's all about. If you're going to a Mexican restaurant, you can have an idea of what you're going to have. And literally you can sit there and be that person where you're punching in your calories and punching in the food that you're about to eat so that you can know, just like your bank account, how much can I spend, right? If you have $20,000 in your bank, and you're out there trying to buy $1 million property, I'd highly advise against it. And so that's the same thing with your macros, right? If you're not burning that many calories in a day, if you didn't work out, if you don't have a lot of lean muscle mass, then you can't be afford to go out every day drinking green tea lattes, going for pizza for lunch, and then at dinner you're going to have some wine, some cheese, and a handful of popcorn. So that's about it. And if you want to get access to that meal plan that I just created, and we'll also throw in a free week there, then make sure that you contact us by going to our website, fbbcwinnipeg.com. Macro patterning, meal planning made easy. Talk to you next time.